Welcome to today's discussion on a critical topic affecting millions of women worldwide: the relationship between insulin resistance and polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS. PCOS is one of the most common hormonal disorders affecting women of reproductive age, and what many don't realize is that insulin resistance plays a crucial role in this condition. Today, we'll explore how insulin affects women with PCOS, why it matters so much for fertility and overall health, and most importantly, what can be done about it.
Understanding this connection is key to improving outcomes for women living with PCOS. Let's start by understanding what insulin resistance actually is. Insulin is a hormone produced by your pancreas that acts like a key, helping cells absorb glucose from your bloodstream to use for energy. Insulin resistance occurs when your cells don't respond properly to insulin. Think of it like a lock that's become sticky. The key doesn't work as well anymore. When this happens, your body compensates by producing more and more insulin to get the same job done. Now, here's the striking reality. Insulin resistance is extremely common in women with PCOS, affecting between 50 to 70% of them. This prevalence is even higher in overweight and obese women with PCOS. What makes this particularly challenging is that insulin resistance creates a vicious cycle, affecting multiple body systems and making the condition progressively worse over time. So, how exactly does insulin resistance affect women with PCOS? The impact is multifaceted and interconnected. First, when insulin levels are chronically elevated, they stimulate the ovaries to produce excess androgens. These are male hormones like testosterone. This excess androgen production leads to many of the classic PCOS symptoms: irregular or absent periods, acne, and excess hair growth on the face and body. Second, insulin resistance disrupts the delicate hormonal balance that's necessary for normal ovulation. This makes it significantly harder to conceive naturally. Third, insulin resistance contributes to weight gain, particularly around the abdomen. And here's where the vicious cycle really kicks in. This abdominal weight gain further worsens insulin resistance. Each problem feeds into the others, creating a challenging cycle where addressing one issue becomes harder because of the others. This is why understanding and treating insulin resistance is so crucial for women with PCOS. Now let's talk about how insulin resistance specifically impacts fertility and reproductive health in women with PCOS. The effects are profound and occur at multiple levels. First, insulin resistance leads to poorer egg quality. The eggs may not mature properly, or they may develop chromosomal abnormalities that prevent successful pregnancy. High insulin levels also reduce the total number of good quality eggs available during fertility treatments. But the problems don't stop at egg quality. Even if fertilization occurs successfully, insulin resistance affects the uterine lining, making it harder for an embryo to implant and establish a pregnancy. The research data on this is striking. Women with untreated insulin resistance have significantly lower pregnancy rates and live birth rates compared to those with normal insulin sensitivity. What's particularly important to understand is that these effects are independent of body weight. In other words, it's not just about being overweight, it's the insulin resistance itself that's causing these fertility problems. Two women with the same body weight can have vastly different fertility outcomes depending on their insulin sensitivity. Let's look at some key findings from recent research that really highlight the importance of insulin resistance in PCOS and fertility. Studies have shown that over 70% of overweight and obese women with PCOS have insulin resistance. That's a remarkably high prevalence. But here's what's really eye-opening. When researchers compared women with similar body weights, those with untreated insulin resistance had significantly worse outcomes across every measure. They had fewer eggs retrieved during fertility treatments, fewer high-quality embryos, lower pregnancy rates, and lower live birth rates. The research identified something crucial: insulin resistance, as measured by a test called HOMA-A, is an independent predictor of poor fertility outcomes. This means it predicts success or failure separate from body weight or BMI. Think about what this means practically. If you have two women with the same BMI undergoing fertility treatment, the one with insulin resistance will have worse outcomes. This finding shifts our understanding. It's not just about weight, it's about metabolic health and how your body processes insulin. To truly understand why insulin resistance has such a profound impact, we need to look at what's happening at the biological level. At the ovarian level, insulin resistance causes mitochondrial dysfunction in the eggs. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of cells, and when they don't work properly, it leads to increased oxidative stress. This oxidative stress damages the DNA within the eggs and reduces their quality and viability. Insulin resistance also disrupts the delicate hormonal signaling that eggs need to mature properly. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra when some of the musicians can't hear the conductor. The impact extends beyond the ovaries to the uterus as well. Insulin resistance affects the expression of genes that are crucial for implantation and alters the balance of hormone receptors in the uterine lining. This makes the uterus less receptive to an embryo trying to implant. Additionally, insulin resistance increases inflammation throughout the body, and this chronic low-grade inflammation further impairs reproductive function at multiple levels. Understanding these mechanisms helps explain why treating insulin resistance can have such dramatic effects on fertility outcomes. Now for the encouraging news. Insulin resistance can be improved, and treating it significantly improves fertility outcomes. The treatment approach combines lifestyle modifications with medical interventions when needed. On the lifestyle front, diet plays a crucial role, focusing on low glycemic index foods, reducing refined carbohydrates, and increasing fiber intake can make a substantial difference. Regular physical activity is equally important because exercise directly improves insulin sensitivity. For many women, medications like metformin are prescribed to help improve insulin sensitivity. And here's what makes all this effort worthwhile. The results are impressive. Women who received treatment for insulin resistance showed significant improvements in every measure: better egg quality, more embryos, and higher pregnancy rates. We're talking about a 15% absolute improvement in live birth rates. That's a huge difference. This represents a paradigm shift in how we approach PCOS and fertility. Rather than focusing solely on weight loss, which can be frustratingly difficult, the focus should be on improving metabolic health and insulin sensitivity. The recommendation now is that women with PCOS, especially those who are overweight, should be screened for insulin resistance before attempting to conceive. If insulin resistance is present, it should be treated for at least 3 months before starting fertility treatments. This gives the body time to respond to treatment and optimize conditions for conception. The message here is empowering. Understanding and addressing insulin resistance gives women with PCOS a powerful tool to improve not just their fertility, but their overall health and well-being.